Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Haunt Collection Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Codina, and we're in our post-Halloween doldrums right now. We're gotta keep the effort up to make everyday Halloween. Keep things spooky, guys. Keep things spooky. Also, we're kind of officially 1 month into this thing. I started October 1st. I'm recording this on November 4th. And I think it's been going okay. There haven't been too many eyes on it. I've seen the numbers and stuff. I'm not really worried about that. I'm not complaining about that or anything. I think I said it in my introduction thing. I'm doing this for me, first and foremost. It would be nice if we had, people around to talk about, the stories I read and all that. But, there's a ton of people like me on YouTube as it is. I just, like I said, I'm going to just keep doing it. Maybe one day these will find more ears. If not, so be it. They'll be there. Also, I think I'm liking the format so far. Like I said last week, I wanted to start doing more stories that I don't know because I kind of relied on stories that I do for the first month. I'll definitely do more that the ones that I know because there's some classics and stuff. But I wanted to get into some random ones and all that, and see what comes up. So that brings me to this week's story. I went to the NoSleep forum on Reddit. I clicked top for the past year, and I just sort of clicked on a title. And this one was submitted 9 months ago. It has 12.8 thousand upvotes. It's not a great, it's a no-sleep title. It's that sort of BuzzFeed clickbaity thing, which I'm not a huge fan of, but that's no sleep, so, it's their playground. It's called, if you find a book called The Tale of Roly Poly, don't open it, don't read it. It's definitely a mouthful, but this is by Clarimonde, and like usual, I will link it in the description. Let's do you want me to read it again? If you find a book called The Tale of Roly Poly, don't open it, don't read it, by Clarimonde. Here we go. The book doesn't look particularly creepy. There are no ominous images on the cover, no words of foreboding. There's only plain red canvas with gold letters that read, The Tale of Roly Poly. I never saw the book until Ginny pulled it from her collection on the shelf. It may have been left by the previous owners. We'd only moved to this neighborhood a month ago. Ginny was already snuggled under the covers when I opened the book. At 6, she was starting to read and never needed to be coaxed to bed if I promised her a story. Well, almost never. Princesses were her new obsession, and would cover most of the classics like Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella. The Tale of Roly Poly was a departure from the usual set list. Okay, so not too much going on here yet. We have Ginny, who I assume is our narrator's daughter, I guess. And it's interesting that she had this book in her collection, and the parent, I guess, had no idea about it. But as we see that maybe it belonged to the previous owners, let's move on. Nothing to sink our teeth into too much yet. Are you sure you want this one, Pumpkin? Ginny yawned. Yes, Daddy. Okay, yeah, there we go. It's the narrator is Ginny's father. All right. I shrugged and began to read. There were 2 boys, 2 children like you. One was called Jack, the other was Hugh. The boys sat in their room, for there was nothing to do. They were so bored, a common bugaboo. The book contained a simple illustration of 2 boys in a bedroom, decorated with baseball-themed wallpaper. They thought and they thought, they huffed and they puffed, until Hugh said, "Phew, enough is enough. Let's play a game. We'll upend this loose end." "I know," said Jack. "I'll call on my friend." I groaned internally and hoped that Ginny would fall asleep soon. This wasn't exactly Dr. Seuss. So, call on your friend. Are we summoning demons here or what? Let's keep going. Let's see. Jack took the book and said the words written down. Come out, you silly old clown." Oh no, clown. Oh boy, so we're gonna have a spooky clown, maybe. I'll comment further. This is moving quickly, so let's take another bite out of here. With a wish and a whoosh and fizzle and pop, Roly Poly arrived with a great big plop. There was an enormous figure that dwarfed the two boys next to him. The man was dressed as a traditional pantomime clown, complete with a rough white makeup and garish red lips. These your worst dreams come true, and he's voiced by Tim Curry. I'm sorry, I'm tearing into this already, and not really too much has happened. "How do?" said the clown. "I've come to play." "You?" said Hugh. "Oh dear, holy moly." "Don't be scared," declared Jack. "It's just Roly Poly." "What shall we do?" said Hugh, all aflutter, as he pulled out his toys from the bedroom clutter. There were many games of various names, all wires and megawatts, a singing machine, a trampoline. There were even 2 robots. "Oh no," said the clown, "this will not do. Let's play some real games. Ditch this techno voodoo." Ditch this techno voodoo. That made me laugh for some reason. I do appreciate that they kind of doing this whole rhyming scheme thing. Like the person said, it's not exactly Dr. Seuss, but that's fine. It's working for the most part. It's sort of that like Babadook type thing where you have the spooky, children's rhyme. I'm not sure about the content so far. We have a probably spooky clown, but the actual, effort put into making the rhyme, I appreciate. "Come with me and you'll see a world of pure imagination." No. "Come with me and you'll see my home is quite grand. You'll have all that you need in topsy-turvy land." The two boys nodded, their hearts filled with glee. They took the clown's hand and counted 3 Mississippi. Hugh and Jack closed their eyes as the world twirled and twirled. They whooped with joy as a new land was unfurled. The clown's home was quite splendid, full of candies and treats. The fun never ended. No parents, no chores, no bedtime rules, no horrible homework from boring old schools. The boys played and played, and all 3 were glad, until one fateful day when the clown became sad. This has nothing to do with the story, but in the house I grew up in, it was a 3-flat apartment, and I was always terrified of the basement as it was. It was dark, and it was like it was a scary basement. It wasn't a nice basement. It was shared between 3 apartments, But my landlord just kind of liked to mess with us. He was a funny little guy named Sonny. And he just had pictures of, sad clowns hung up on the walls in the basement. And I'm pretty sure it was just to scare me and my brother. Nothing to do with anything, but I think of that when I think of, sad clowns. That and Krusty the Clown. But yeah, this is more relevant, even though it's not relevant at all. "What's wrong, Roly Poly? Is there something we can do?" The boys asked and asked, but their worry still grew. "Oh dear," the clown mumbled. "My apologies most humbled. I'm just very hungry," as his large tummy rumbled. "Oh boy, hungry clown, there's kids. Oh, let's see. Would you like chocolate or chips or gooey cream cake? We have hot dogs and ice cream in every milkshake." Is it hot dogs with ice cream on top? I don't want that. But the clown shook his head. Yeah, I wouldn't want that either, Roly Poly. But the clown shook his head, for his belly did ache. Then he grabbed little Hugh. "A fine meal you will make." "Okay." Yep. Yeah, we knew where this is going, right? My stomach flipped when I saw the... Oh, wait, I'm saying this in rhyme, but it's our narrator. My stomach flipped when I saw the contents of the next page. I shut the book immediately. Let's call it a night, Princess. Jeannie tried to protest, but her eyelids were heavy with sleep. What happened to the boy, Daddy? I'll tell you tomorrow. I kissed Ginny on the forehead and turned out the light. I went downstairs and poured a large glass of wine before reopening the book. The page that I closed contained an illustration of a gruesome scene. The clown held one of the boys above his head and had bitten into the child's left side. Okay, I know I was, making jokes about it, because, obviously every scary clown goes back to it, but one of the very early scenes in the book, it involves Pennywise rising up out of water and biting into somebody's side and dragging them under a bridge. So, I'm gonna point that out. I don't, necessarily want to accuse, this person of, plagiarism or whatever, but I'm gonna point that out, that, the influences might be showing a little extra in this part. Anyways. His teeth tore away chunks of pink flesh and blood trickled down his ruby-stained lips. The boy's eyes were shut, his tear-streaked face frozen in an agonized expression. Spurred on by morbid curiosity, I continued to read. People in creepypasta always have their morbid curiosity spurring them on when something obviously upsetting them. Maybe that is realistic. I don't know. It's always weird. In this context, it's a bit more forgivable. I'm thinking more of the gaming pastas where it's this game was so upsetting and why was this happening? I'm just going to keep playing it. Anyways, Roly Poly grabbed the boy and held him aloft. He took a big bite. Sweet Hugh was so soft. He gnashed and he gnawed. He chewed and he slurped. And when nothing was left, the clown loudly burped. He looked around. There was no Jack to be found. The boy had run. The chase had begun. Jack ducked and he darted. He ran and he ran. Roly Poly just chuckled. Come back here, young man. This place is large. Indeed it does sprawl. There is no way out. No way at all. The clown was quite right. For try as he might, Jack rushed to escape, but there was no exit in sight. The boy grew tired. His breath became weary. Roly Poly caught up, sounding quite cheery. You're tougher than most. You I will cook. And he hung the boy up on an old meat hook. The child screamed and he shouted, You great fat liar! The clown licked his lips as he stoked the big fire. I turned to the last page. The boy dangled from a hook over a gaping fire pit. Parts of his skin were cracked and blackened as the flames licked his small frame. The clown prodded the fire with a stick in one hand. The other hand waved to the reader as a maniacal smile revealed 2 rows of long, sharp teeth. Of course, the clown has sharp teeth, but his name is Roly Poly, not Pennywise. The clown was so happy. The sweet meat was a treat. Hail to the chef! Bon appetit! That's funny to me. The book ended there. I felt the bile rise in the back of my throat. What kind of twisted individual writes something like this? It was probably a desperate hack writer looking for some notoriety. Whatever it was, it left a bad taste in my mouth. I finished my wine and threw the book in the trash. I woke up early the next morning and took the paper lying on the doorstep. It was Sunday, but I never liked to sleep in. I put on a pot of coffee and glanced at the headline on the countertop. My heart froze. 5th anniversary of local boy's disappearance. Hundreds have taken part in a remembrance rally to mark the 5th anniversary of the disappearance of brothers Hugh and Jack Healy. The brothers, aged 8 and 6, were abducted from their home on January 7th, 2012. Police have issued a fresh appeal for information this weekend. The story continued on page 3. I ran outside and removed the cover of the trash can. Perhaps whoever wrote this book knew something about the boy's disappearance. At the very least, I needed to report the sick material to the police. My stomach lurched as I regarded the contents of the can. The book was gone. A primal panic rose in my chest as I dashed upstairs to Ginny's bedroom. A single piece of paper lay atop the crumpled sheets of her empty bed. Ginny picked a good book, a true tale to excite, but Dad did not like it. He thought it was trite. He stopped the story at the moment of glory. "Oh no, not for you. This part is unfit." The clown did not like that, not one little bit. So Roly Poly told Ginny, who was ever so skinny, "Let's have some fun. We'll show that old ninny." And now Ginny plays in the land topsy-turvy, full of sugar and spice and all things that are girly. While the princess holds court in dresses of satin, the clown simply smiles. She'll do. She'll fatten. It's been 1 week since Ginny went missing. I've given the page to the cops, but they're as baffled as I am. Every hellish verse of that awful book is seared into my skull. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm typing this as both an appeal and a warning. If you find this book, don't open it. Don't read it. Call the police. A child's life might depend on it. Okay, so that's what was it 12,800 upvotes look like on NoSleep, huh? It's Pennywise. Like I said, obviously this is the stuff that sticks on NoSleep, but and it's like I said, it's Pennywise. It came out this was, like I said, was it 9 months ago? This was early this year. Obviously, it was before the It movie hit theaters, but we knew it was coming. It's like half Babadook with the book. It's not entirely clear if it's supernatural or not. It could be that forever somehow there's this just guy who dresses up like a clown. But it has the stuff of like he goes to their land and there's all sorts of good stuff there. So I'm getting the vibe that's supposed to be a supernatural thing. It isn't just a guy who writes a book and illustrates it and dresses up like a clown and lures kids somewhere that they actually want to stay. Yeah, like I said, it's I appreciate the whole rhyming thing, like I said, but the whole, like I said, there's the part with a clown with teeth. Like I said, it's Pennywise. The part of him biting into somebody's side that happens in the book, that happens in It. Happens in a very sad scene, at that. It's based on a real crime, apparently. My friend from Maine told me about that when I told him about the scene in the book, which is very sad. But, yeah, there's nothing wrong with using existing material as influence. We do it all the time. What's that whole thing? Like, there's, only so many stories, it's just how you take them. And I'm not, against creepy clowns and stuff, even though they're very kind of overdone at the moment. Like, they've kind of remade resurgence, clowns are and everything. Just like how we had zombies, and then, like, we had ghosts and demons and stuff, and now it seems like, clowns are sort of, working their way in there. Although I am a fan of It because, but I give that a pass because Pennywise was kind of one of the original, creepy clowns. All the other creepy clowns are because of Pennywise and probably John Wayne Gacy. But I always rankle when it's like, oh, he was the killer clown. And it was like, but he didn't, dress up like a clown when he murdered people. He just was a clown. He was also a killer KFC manager or whatever, or what he owned chains, something like that. It doesn't matter. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. That has nothing to do with this. John Wayne Gacy has nothing to do with this. Anyways, there's nothing wrong with taking influence from other things. It happens. But there's a line when it's like, I'm going to be inspired by a clown who lures children in and, eats them. And just being like, okay, I'm also going, it's like a repaint, the reskin and in video games where it's like that's the same enemy just with, a palette swap or whatever. Like that's what this feels like to me. It's Pennywise using the Babadook method of the mysterious book, and you read the rhyme and you let it in. Although, of course, spoilers if you haven't seen the Babadook yet. It's actually about grief, less so about a spooky monster man. It's about grief and mourning and dealing with trauma and loss. It's also about dealing with trauma, but again, I'm going on a tangent that has nothing to do with this story. It's like I said, this feels like a reskin, and it's like, it's one of those, like, I feel like I hate to say it because, like, who am I to talk, but, like, why am I doing the show anyways? I just wish more effort be put into it. The whole rhyming thing is great. Like, even the concept of, like, here's a book, and, I feel like the whole, like, if you find a mysterious book, like, that's not, like, a full-on cliche, but, we've seen it before, like I mentioned the Babadook and all that, but it's a cool, device, and it's just, like, the clown who eats children feels lazy, and, I wish it was something else. Like, the title kind of intrigued me, and I just got Killer Clown, clown eating children. Yeah, like, that's what I could say. It feels lazy, but at the same time, like I said, the people in NoSleep ate this up, like Roly Poly eats kids. So, obviously opinions vary. There's just my opinion. I want to see a bit more out of this, creepypasta, NoSleep, internet horror, etc., etc. There's a million names for it. There's nothing, because creepypasta doesn't mean anything anymore, etc., etc. Another tangent. Yeah, like, I think Clarimonde is, like, a pretty good writer, like, technically. It moved pretty well, and, like I've said, I've been complimenting the actually writing, like, the poem and the rhyming and all that. I thought that worked. But, like I said, it just felt lazy to me. Like, you had a great, method of delivery, the book, but it just falls flat. Let me take a look at some of the comments and see what people are saying. Somebody doesn't want Roly Poly to eat their cats. People seem to be talking about that, like, we've all been exposed to Roly Poly now, which actually kind of makes sense, although I guess the rules that we've established in the story are that it's the book specifically. You have to get the book and read the whole story, and then you're safe, I guess. I guess that's the rules. Here's one from a user named Subhuman Creature. This is one of the creepiest stories I've read on here. What makes it creepier is the rhyming, turning something horrific into something fun and lively in the form of a child's book. I could even hear creepy clown music in my head as I read your story. It's so haunting some of the lines are repeating in my head over and over. Truly, no sleep tonight. So, yeah, obviously this was successful for this person. And I agree that, the rhyming thing, it helps. It's, taking something that's supposed to be cutesy and making it creepy, it's kind of a good go-to. But, I'm glad this person enjoyed it. I just, and like I said, like, it's going to sound like, who am I to say, like, what have I written? I've, posted 2 things that I've written, and, I'm not resentful of this stuff. Probably me saying that is going to make people think I am. But no, it's just one of those, it's like, I'm not saying that my stuff, I'm not saying my stuff should have, a million upvotes. I just wish some standards were higher. But like I said, like, that's NoSleep. They look for a certain thing. They have their, NoSleep has its tastes. And obviously something like this is it. What else do we have in the comments here? Roly Poly sounds like he'd be Pennywise's long-lost brother. Yes, I agree, Dilo77. And there's some extended it discussion. They're going on a tangent like me. We all float down here, yes. And then right after that, like after a series, we have Baba Duke. So some people are definitely, making the same connections I was. Where, someone is quoting Taken here. Okay, there's a lot of comments here. I'm going to. What is this? This is a very long comment from Evil Amnesiac. I actually know this one. I've been in a similar situation when I was a boy. My mother worked it out. It's lyric magic. It's been used for centuries, mainly in Northern Europe and Scandinavia. Words have meaning. As such, they have power. You need to continue the rhyme to get her back. She hasn't gone, per se. It's complicated. Whatever entity is using it has fucked up by naming the place it's taken her, which is good news for you. You can use the rhyme to get there, but do not use the 3 Mississippis, as this is a one-way trip. Write down, preferably on the same piece of paper so it continues the poem, something along the lines of, Poor Daddy was saddened by his Ginny's demise, when a wonderful thought light up his sad eyes. If Roly can rhyme here, and Ginny rhyme there, why don't I just go see her, through the door by the stairs? A door that once open, leads me straight there, right to Topsy-Turvy Land, where Ginny is scared. The door has no lock, this door has no keys, yet oddly it opens, for just Ginny and me. Remember the word it speaks have meaning where it lives, but yours do too. Only when written down to continue the spell, though. Get a gun, preferably a shotgun, as their physical form doesn't always align with how they appear. Some of it is illusion created by the spell, so a spread of shot is preferable. Make sure you make it the door for you and your daughter only. If you create a door Roly can pass through, he will. And most importantly, do not kill Roly from his side of the door. Topsy-Turvy Land only exists as part of his rhyme. Others can add to the rhyme because he included the 2 little boys when he wasn't there. But once he is dead, the rhyme will collapse, as will the world he created. Be wary of how you word things. He is much more experienced at lyric magic, and will try and trip you up. Avoid speaking to him. If you have to insert words like orange that don't rhyme, it will make it extremely difficult to entwine you in a spell. Good luck. Okay, that was a comment. This person is very into this whole thing. I don't even know what to say to that. Like, he's just adding on rules, which is it's funny. And he wants like Action Adventure Dad to go in and save thing. I don't know. That's pretty great. This person is just like, okay, here's what you got to do. I know NoSleep's thing is like everything is real, and you respawn like it's real and all that. And this person definitely takes their NoSleep seriously. No judgment, no hate there. That's pretty fun. Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for. What was the title of this thing? If you find a book called The Tale of Roly Poly, don't open it, don't read it. I'm probably just going to put The Tale of Roly Poly on the title on the YouTube page because I'm not writing that whole thing. It probably wouldn't even show up. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. We've talked about all we can, I think. Obviously, I'm not too fond of it, but plenty of people are. It just, like I've said it a few times now, it just feels lazy to me. It feels like it meets the Babadook, and capital IT it meets the Babadook, So yeah, that'll do it. I need to get back to writing my story for the Fleming Storage Unit project. If you're in the same, well, I'm not in the circles, but you listen to the same podcasts I do, Undercooked Analysis, specifically Dead Palette, came up with this whole really cool project thing that's sort of like a realist horror SCP type thing about a storage unit. and I'm a part in that. And I currently hate my story, but I hate all of my stories. So hopefully, by the time it's done, I hate it less. Anyways, I'm pretty sure we're allowed to use them once they're done. So eventually, I'll probably be reading my story from that. But other than that, I think that will do it. We'll go ahead and stick that old Tale of Roly Poly back on the Haunt Collection Library shelf to collect some dust, hopefully. I think that's it. So I'll talk to you guys next week. Later.